What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the TLZ podcast. Before we get started today, make sure you guys click the like button and the subscribe button down below. Make sure you show that support for the channel. And now let's get into the podcast. Joining us today, if you don't know him already, you should. It is Brian Yang. If you haven't watched the Tokyo Olympics, Brian Yang just played the world number 2 seed in badminton and almost pulled the upset. And I'm sure everybody was watching that game and really on like the ends of their seat, just like waiting for those last 2 points, on the third set. And we will get into that a little later on the podcast. But at first, I just want to ask Brian, what was the Olympic experience like?
It was just like crazy. We were pulling up to the Olympic athletes village, and we were taking a bus to our apartments, and we were just like seeing like all the buildings, all the athletes around, and like the weather was super nice as well. It was just like it was still hard for me to believe that, like, even though I'm already in Tokyo, it's like I can't believe like I'm actually here right now, Yeah, it was just like surreal. It was like mind blowing, and it's like everything that you'd expect the Olympics to be, but even more actually.
Yeah, I saw all the story posts that you did on Instagram, and
Yeah,
it's just amazing. Like it's like just the feeling of being there. It's like different from every tournament you play, right?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And you guys also went like a little earlier and you had like a training camp, with Team Canada before the game
Yeah,
started. How was that training camp?
yeah. So we went to this other city called Hakodate to train, and it was like as good as like the village and the Olympics itself. Like because of COVID, we had to kind of take precautions. We weren't actually allowed to leave the hotel. Like we could only stay inside the hotel and then go to the practice hall, and that was it. But we had like a translator and a tour guide who were both very nice. The tour guide was just like um, showing us attractions and like really nice places around the city. Like the bus driver, we had the same bus driver every day, and like he was just super nice as well. Um, and then yeah, like the hotel staff and everything, they treated us so well. They treated us like kings and queens. You know, we were asking them like the first day, the first meal we got, like I think most people thought it was too little,
Mhm.
and then like the translator like kind of saw this and she asked us, and we were like, yeah, we could have a bit more food. And then like pretty much every meal after that, like it was enough. Like they even managed to get us like sushi from like restaurants outside. And then the food, like the hotel food itself, was just like amazing. So yeah, it was incredible.
That's crazy. That's like amazing, man. And
Yeah,
like obviously you guys lived in the athlete village, right? Where there's like so many top athletes. Like in the Olympics, it's like every top athlete for every single sport is there, right? Did you
yeah.
meet anybody that you like really looked up to?
Um, well, we saw like a lot of like really famous players, like tennis players. We saw Djokovic, like NBA players or basketball players. We saw like Rudy Gobert, and like Luka Doncic. Even I actually didn't manage to meet Luka, but some of my teammates did.
Mhm.
Um, and then yeah, some like other Canadian athletes as well, like Andre DeGrasse, the sprinter who actually won gold in the 200
Mhm.
meters. Um, but yeah, no one that I really like, really looked up to, other than like all the badminton players like Victor, Axelson, like Kento Momota and stuff. But it's just like amazing to see all these like world class athletes from other sports in other countries.
Mhm. Nice. And you just mentioned, Kento Momota, and like obviously he lost in the group this time, which was very surprising to many people, actually to everyone
Yeah,
probably. Why
yeah,
do you think he lost that game?
yeah. I think it was just the nerves and the pressure he was feeling. Like it was in his home country. Um, I think it's his first Olympics as well. Not sure if that's right or not, but I think it is. And also like before COVID happened, he was like kind of on top of the world. He was winning pretty much every tournament, beating everyone for the most part. Um, but then once COVID hit, I think he only played one tournament, which was the All England, and he lost to Lizzie Ja. So I think that could have played a part as well, like the lack of tournament experience the past 1 or 2 years. But I think the main thing was just he had such an enormous amount of pressure. He was probably one of the favorites to win the Olympics, and being in the home country that adds even more. So it's just like it's too much. It was too much for him to handle. Like,
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from, and yeah, like you mentioned, it's his home court, in
yeah,
in Japan, and I think a lot of people, especially Japan, like expected him to win that gold, and
yeah,
it's funny you say that because like obviously I think this Olympics really circled around mental health, like Simone Biles pulling out, and now
yeah, yeah, yeah.
the loss by Kento. What do you think? Like, how important is mental health in athletes?
I think like it's just as important as physical health, and I mean, like I've been working with like a mental kind of coach, I guess, to just like work on the mental stuff, mental side of sport, and I felt like it's really helped me in the past, like since COVID started. Like I've been doing pretty well at tournaments, like the few tournaments that I played, and like yeah, for some people, like I'm not really experiencing like like negative like mental effects of like training and doing the sport right now, but I'm sure like there's a lot of athletes who are, and that just comes from like maybe like their environment or like social media or like just like pressure they put on themselves or something. So like having like a healthy mental condition and like a strong mental condition is like just as important as being physically fit as well.
Hmm. I completely agree. And I think for athletes, it's a little different too, because like everybody who watches them expects them to be, because they're like, if because you're an athlete, you should have great mental health and you
Yeah,
should be able to push through that. Like you're the best at your
yeah,
game.
yeah,
You should be able to do that. But in reality, everybody's human and we all go through mental issues sometimes.
yeah,
There's a lot of pressure. And
yeah.
I do want to talk about a little bit before we talk about the game against Chou Tien Chen. I want to talk a little bit about your game against Felix from Sweden. You lost that game,
Mhm.
but in my mind, I felt like you could have done a lot more, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was just an example. Like I was just feeling a lot of pressure in that match. Like going into it, you could probably tell I was pretty nervous. Um, you probably kind of see it on court as well. Like I wasn't really playing opened up. Um, not really playing like myself, and that's probably just because. Firstly, it was just because it was the Olympics. It was my first match, like my Olympic debut. Just like that kind of thought, just like put me under an enormous amount of pressure, just by being there. And then second, I knew Felix from like previous tournaments. I've watched him play and like he's good, but I think our levels are like I definitely have the ability to beat him. So I think like with that mindset, um, like it put pressure on me to win because I think I should win, but that's not necessarily the case, and that just made me play like play worse. So yeah, kind of the same thing that Kento probably experienced, where just like the pressure kind of deterred the performance.
Yeah, and I think also because like the obviously it's Olympics, a big tournament, and you have a chance to win that game, and then like
Yeah, yeah.
then it's like yeah, it kind of piles up on you, and
Mhm.
but I also want to know like what was your reaction when you found out you were in the same group as the world number two, Chou Tien Chen?
Yeah, so we were actually watching the draws happen live, and then I saw it and I was just like, I actually wasn't like that like disappointed
Hmm.
because I was hoping. I think I said this on when I was on the podcast last time, but I wanted to play like one of the top seeds.
Hmm.
I got the second seed, which is not the first seed, but it's like pretty good as well. Um, so yeah, I was just like you know just wanted to go into the match, just try to play, get as many points as possible, just try to like display my level, and then get off the court and not regret anything.
Hmm. Definitely. like you mentioned, like if you play, imagine if you played Kento Momota in your group and you were the one that beat
Yeah.
Kento Momota. That would have been crazy. You would have set the world on
Yeah,
fire,
like
bro. Oh my God. And back to that game with Chou Tien Chen. How was your like what was your strategy going into that game?
um going in like Cho is like a pretty solid player, like an all-around player. Like his fitness is pretty good. Like strong legs, strong smash. Um, so my plan was just to like I didn't really go into the match with the mindset of like I'm gonna win this. I just wanted to see how I compared with him. So I was just gonna kind of grind him out or like try to grind him out. Just give him a lot of pressure with like attack and speed and power and stuff.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, like I guess that kind of worked at the beginning, and then as the game progressed, um, or like as the match progressed, like it was like the scores were like pretty tight, and like I was like getting more and more into the mindset of like maybe I can actually win this.
Mhm.
And then after I won the second set, um, yeah, like I was like, yo, I took a set off Chou Tien Chen, I can actually win this. And then yeah, and in the third set, I was just going for the win.
Yeah. I can see that in the way you were playing, like in the third set. You were really gunning for it. And
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, and like you mentioned, like you probably felt really confident after the second set. And I almost feel like in the first set, in the very beginning of the game, I felt like he kind of underestimated you and like
yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
like
Yeah,
right.
that's definitely
Yeah,
probably what happened.
yeah, but then it's like that happens to people, obviously when you underestimate someone and then they suddenly win a set. And then
Yeah,
now you're kind of panicking a little inside and you're like, oh my God, this is actually happening. And this is like the first one. If I lose this now in the Olympics, that would be pretty bad,
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, and you guys went back and forth and it was great. And I think your speed really kept up with him because like there were some smashes that it was hard for him to get back. And like it was like he was really like having trouble with it. And
yeah, yeah. Like I felt like he wasn't. It's not like he wasn't trying. I think he was like he was diving,
mhm,
and like after rallies, like he was breathing heavy as well.
mhm.
So yeah, it was definitely a really good match.
Yeah, he was definitely trying, especially in the third set.
Yeah,
He did not want to lose that game. Yeah, and you got a
yeah, yeah,
22-20 with him. So it's
yeah.
impressive. When you started the first set, like obviously you were going for the win, right? What was going through your mind in the last few points of that set?
The third set or the first set?
Third set, third set.
Third set. Oh yeah, third set. I mean, my mind was just like everywhere. Like I was, I think I was up 17-15 or something
Hmm.
in the third, and then when you're up against at the end of a game against like such a high seeded player, such like a world class player like him,
Hmm.
you start to like your mind just starts to like go everywhere, right? Like, what if I actually win this? Like, how am I going to celebrate? Um, like,
Yeah.
yeah, just like everything. Like,
Yeah.
but then like I try to like just keep my cool. Like, it's not over yet. There's still like I still need to get 4 points. Like, he's not out yet. Um, and then like I think I kind of like lost a bit of focus
Hmm.
towards the end, or just like kind of I think the lack of experience on my part kind of played an effect at the end of the game. So I was playing a bit more defensive, like I was letting him attack more, and then like when you're at the end of like the third game and the score is close, you're the one who wants to like both players have a lot of pressure, right? So like you want to be on the attack more often during that period. So I kind of let him get the attack more, and then he just hitting winners, and like especially the last one, on the line.
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
Yeah, I could see that when I was watching the game. Like you were playing a lot more careful the last few points, and
yeah,
he
yeah,
was just hamming at it. And
yeah,
then
yeah. He was just going for the big smash all the time.
yeah, yeah, and I think that's just his experience. And
Yeah, yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
definitely. What was your biggest takeaway from that game?
I was probably just knowledge of like where I compare with the other like world class players. Um, like obviously I lost, and like he probably wasn't playing like he was feeling pressure too. So like maybe he didn't play like up to 100% like his standard, but like it was still a close game. I think I still played really well. Um, so yeah, I just kind of learned how close I am to kind of these higher ranked guys. And it's just a big confidence booster. Yeah.
Definitely. And were you aware, like when you finished the game, that your Instagram is gonna blow up and with like DMs from people and like just so many people watching that game, and how much hope you gave Canada, like badminton Canada. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, like actually, after my match against Felix, because I played him before I played Cho, I also got a lot of messages. Um, yeah, mostly like encouragement, like, oh, you'll get him next time, or just like focus on the next match or something.
Mhm.
Which I've actually never gotten before. Um, and I got like a decent amount too, so it was like pretty pleasant to see. And then after my match against Cho, like I got like so many, like had to be like at least like 50 like messages just from strangers, like in my Instagram like message requests, just like, oh, you played so well, um and you're still so young, like hopefully you'll be top in the world in the future and stuff like that.
Mhm.
um and even though like people messaged me after my first match, I kind of wasn't expecting it in the second one, um especially after like I lost my first match, like there kind of wasn't hope for me to like advance in the Olympics after that, I guess. Um, but like the amount of support I received was just like crazy, and like I actually, I actually teared up a bit when I saw like some of the closer people,
Mhm.
message me and like say congrats, like you played so well and stuff. And, like
Mhm.
yeah, I felt really good.
Yeah, I bet it was emotional because like obviously you guys went through a lot, especially you and your friends and family, right? And you guys kind of
Yeah,
walked
yeah,
this path together, and now had this huge accomplishment. And I think it's just amazing, and talking about how you gave hope to, badminton Canada, like obviously what Kevin Cordone did too, right?
yeah.
And what do you think about what he did?
I mean, like that's like crazy. He made semifinals in his fourth Olympics. Like he's like 34 or something,
Mhm.
and he made the semis. He beat like some really good players too. Like he beat Angus in Kalong.
Mhm.
He beat the Korean who beat Momota. Um, like what he did was just like insane, and
Yeah.
like huge credit to him for like putting in the work even like at his
Mhm.
age, and like just like putting Guatemala like on the map, like
Mhm.
in Olympic history, right?
Yeah, that is
Yeah,
it's incredible because for Canada, it's like obviously Canada normally in Pan Am Games, it's always above Guatemala by a lot, and that's no
yeah,
disrespect
yeah.
to Guatemala, but it's just,
Mhm. Yeah,
it is what it is. And for Kevin to represent Guatemala and just go that far is just unreal. Is unreal. And
yeah.
Kevin, if you're
Like,
watching this, you should come on the podcast and we could have a talk
yeah.
about stuff. And but yeah, that's just incredible, and I'm really like happy for him. And I think he really gave hope to entire like Pan American region, especially South America, and like just for
Yeah,
badminton,
for
because
sure.
that's just crazy. It is
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
And now going back to the Chou Tien Chen game, did Chou Tien Chen say anything to you after the game?
Yeah, so like after the match, like not he didn't say anything to me directly after.
Mhm.
Um, but when we were just chilling in the practice courts after the match, I asked to take a picture with him, and after we took the picture, he was just like he tried talking to me in English. It wasn't that good, but like he was basically just saying, um, like just like really well played. Um, you did, or like you played really well. Hopefully, like I hope you do well in the future and stuff like that. Um, and then yeah, I was just like, yeah, thank you and good luck, on your next matches.
Mhm.
And yeah, it was just like it felt really good to kind of hear that from a player of his level.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like getting that recognition, right? And
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Fine. What is your next goal now after this huge accomplishment?
Um, Next goal is just World Championships, I guess. I've never played one before. There's one coming up in November, December this year. So I'm just gonna try to qualify for that, and then yeah, that's just the next goal for now.
I think it's gonna be a crazy tournament. Definitely a
Yeah.
dark horse. Brian Yang is gonna be a dark horse in the World Championships. I'm telling you, he's gonna come out swinging out of nowhere, knock out one of these champs. I'm telling you. But yeah, congratulations once again, Brian, for the great accomplishment in the Olympics. And of course, congrats on your recent win in the Denmark Masters. We didn't really talk about it too much, but definitely congratulations on that gold medal. It's an incredible accomplishment because obviously Denmark Masters is not an easy tournament, and it's extremely tough. And congratulations on that. And hopefully, good luck to
Thank
you
you.
on all your future tournaments. And we will be keeping an eye out for you on the World Championship stage, and we'll be cheering for you behind your back. Yeah. And thank you so much for coming on. We're going to go on to the viewers' questions after this.